Guys, in France, they are trying to raise the retirement age. This video is about, will it happen to you here in the United States? Will it come over? Before I get into this video, please like, subscribe. Let's get into it.
French cities grinding to a halt. In the capital, thousands of people taking to the streets after French President Emmanuel Macron forced through an unpopular bill.
Would apply not only to future retirees, but chunk of those already retired.
President Emmanuel Macron went around his nation's parliament to push through an unpopular bill that raises the retirement age. Macron says raising the retirement age from 62 to 64 is necessary to keep the pension system from falling into a deficit. Unions in France are threatening to disrupt key services over President Macron's pension reform plan.
Protests have broken out on the streets of Paris again as President Emmanuel Macron used a special constitutional power to raise the retirement age.
Days of protests erupting in the streets of Paris, the unrest fueled by anger over the government's plan to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64.
Against this proposed retirement to change the age from 64 to 62, and it looks like Emmanuel Macron just decided he's gonna do it.
Okay, Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, has himself decided that the French retirement age should be raised from 62 to 64 years old, which is kind of ridiculous without a proper vote. And this has set thousands of people into the streets to protest and burn things and complain, and really just puts the fear in people that they have to work longer. His reasoning is, one, budgetary. They need money. They won't be able to afford paying retirement to people in their, I guess, 62 years old. And the second part of it is people are living longer, so they haven't budgeted to pay people for longer periods of time. People that are opponents of this are saying you need to tax the rich because it's really hurting the blue collar class. Now, France is one of the most taxed countries in the world in regards to rich folks. In fact, many wealthy individuals have left France just because of their taxation reasoning, with France taxing people nearly 75% of their earnings. That's insane. So the big question comes out: if France has raised their retirement age to potentially 64, or will raise their retirement age to 64 from 62, 2 years is a potentially big difference. In the United States, the retirement age is 65. Can you imagine if the US government also has the same problem, raising your age to 67, 68, maybe even 70 years old? Now, with the national living age being about 76 years, that would be ridiculous to know that you've retired for 6 years. Imagine working your whole life with them raising your living retirement age and then counting on the government, which you should never do, to only retire for 6 potential years while you go to the doctor to deal with your health issues that you've jeopardized while working your whole life at the sanitary field or wherever you had your job. It's insane. So overall, if the US government also considers this, I think it will set off a major protest, rioting, etc. I think with the United States being one of the highest retirement ages out there with a pension, we're already at its max. So even with where we are, you're only getting 11 years on average of retirement before you reach your fate. Sounds kind of depressing. Now, I am one against planning retirement with government aid, Social Security, Medicare, and all this stuff. It's all baloney. It's not enough to really live or enjoy life. So I always encourage you guys to plan early to make sure that you understand what you have in terms of your built assets as you get older. Now, not everyone plans. In fact, my father growing up never planned anything. I would say to this day he probably has $500 to $600 to his name, and overall is not a good investor, not a good spender. So that forced me to be someone that is a good investor and a good spender. So overall, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not relying on the government, no matter what age the government decides to set your pension to. You could do that by having residual income, by potentially having a side gig when you're older that doesn't require a lot of labor. Perfect residual income is having 1 or 2 or 3 apartment complexes, maybe even a few houses that are paying your mortgage, or simple income because your mortgage is paid off by that age, by keeping your real estate properties, filling them up through a property management company to make sure things are going great. So passive income is essential for retirement. Don't let the government fool you that they're going to protect you, take care of you as you get older, etc. It's probably not going to happen. And as you can see, it's happening less and less as money is not properly managed in many countries. So with people's savings being wiped out in the latest economy crash, the banks not having enough money, your money to give to you, and stock market just taking a big hit, people are worried. What are they going to do for their next payment that's due? And on top of that, what is going to happen with their retirement? The government is overspending and overprinting, just like any of these banks. And in fact, they're just bailing out banks. So what's the point of a bank accountability if the government's just going to print more money or give them more money? This is going to be a constant revolving wheel. That's almost going to be headed towards like a socialism type system, or maybe a communistic type system where you have the government really controlling the banking sector, maybe even private businesses, etc., just because of the fact that they're getting involved and giving companies money to continuously bail them out. Remember, the difference between communism and capitalism is capitalism, the companies have to self-sustain themselves. With communism, the government owns everything. And technically, when an investor gives you money into your company, guess what happens? They own shares or percentages of your company. Therefore, they become the owner or a majority shareholder, etc. So the government is actually playing the role of investor for a lot of these bailouts that we see happening today. And that's dangerous for a capitalism world. As the housing market continues to crash, which is obviously led by the ridiculous interest rate hikes that they have been continuously raising. I mean, that's killed our economy. In fact, I think that killed our economy and forced the banking industry into the collapse that we've seen. It's probably done intentionally, but if you think about it, all the small banks are being wiped out, with only the big banks that are being remained or are going to be remaining, and those big banks are backed by the government even more. So overall, the interest rate that the feds have set really hurt these small private banks from borrowing money, from having lending money, and from really having some type of circulation of money happening when the economy is at full swing. The interest rate really killed the economy, and they've done it so many times to curb inflation that we've actually had kind of a stagflation where it's a recession with inflation, with the interest rate not really allowing people to rebound. The interest rate being so high has also led to one of the slowest mortgage refinance eras in decades. So with the retirement age being at 65, you're going to basically see a possible upswing of that to 67, 68. It's going to happen. And with that happening, you can't rely on the government to just help you pay for your bills. This channel was set up to do more. You have to do more to make sure you make more money. And you have to do that with a plan in mind now when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Before you hit that 65 years of age, you should already be retired financially, not necessarily in your mind. If you want to continue your work to keep the wheel spinning, that's great. But financially, you should not be taking on any more risk in your 60s. You should not be taking on additional responsibilities of new jobs, etc. And I'm not saying you don't need to or have to, but if you're an average Joe or someone that's just an average investor, do not take on additional risk at that age where one bad move could crumble everything that you have. You should just be stable, riding it through. Anyway, that's my take on this 65 and over. Comment below. Do you think France is going to lead to America also raising the retirement age? Do you care because you're going to be self-sufficient? Or do you think this is just going to continuously create turmoil with people that are relying on the government to pay their retirement? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Like if you did, comment below, and subscribe.